Hello, everyone, and thank you again for joining us for this webinar. My name is Holly Bignell with Line Zero, Workplace from Facebook partner, and I'm going to be your in-session co-organizer for today. I'd like to welcome you to this session entitled Supporting Remote Work Through File Sharing and Accessibility. So let's jump right into the webinar. For today's session, let's first take a quick peek at the agenda. So first we'll go through some introductions, so how Line Zero and Workplace can help, and today's speakers. We'll then look at a customer story, so the challenges of moving to a remote working model. We'll discuss how Workplace can help during crisis and show you how to access the files that you need remotely. This webinar will be largely demo-based, so we'll spend most of our time focusing on the live demo portion. And in that demo, we will show you how to configure and use the Workplace SharePoint integration. We'll then look at the benefits of integration collaboration tools and then move into discussing some next steps. At the end of the webinar, we will move into the Q&A period where we welcome all attendees to ask as many questions as needed. Before we do get started, I would like to point out to you that if you have a question or two throughout the session, please do use the chat function on the platform. I'll be monitoring the chat window throughout the presentation, and we're happy to read out those questions as they come in, so please don't be shy. Feel free to ask as many questions as you need to. Welcome in meeting our speakers. So today we have Caroline McHale. She's a workplace officer and strategist with Line Zero Workplace from Facebook partner, as well as Alfredo Becerra. He's the client success manager from Workplace from Facebook. And of course, I've also already introduced myself, Holly Bignell, the webinar host. So thank you so much for joining us today. We're really excited to have you here in this webinar. First, before we jump into the content for the slide, we'd just like to look at who is Line Zero and who is Workplace from Facebook. So from an organizational perspective, Line Zero houses a team of experts who are experienced in pre-launch, launch, and post-launch of your workplace projects. Line Zero is really your go-to resource to ensure Workplace meets your team's expectations and you get the most out of your workplace environment. Workplace from Facebook, on the other hand, from an organizational perspective, their mission is to give the world a place to work together. So they launched in 2016, and Workplace is an enterprise communications platform that is used by over 30,000 organizations of all sizes worldwide, really to transform how they connect, collaborate, and get work done. So that's a very high-level brief overview of who is Workplace from Facebook and Line Zero. And now we'll just jump into the challenges of working from a remote model based on a customer story. So in terms of client use cases, we have seen two scenarios generally. The entire workforce is kind of meant to move to a work from home model during this kind of worldly crisis right now. So we had a client who had to do exactly that. And unfortunately, they didn't have any ability to access or share files remotely. They didn't have a VPN, or they didn't have a secure platform of sharing information. And a VPN really meaning that they had no virtual private network techniques for really creating a secure point-to-point or site-to-site connection for remote access facilities. Now, there are organizations out there who have a few employees working remotely, where file access is not an all-encompassing or organization-wide issue. However, it is a much different scenario when your entire workforce is mandated to work from home. So we are still seeing some accessibility issues there. So really the objective of this webinar is to highlight solutions based on these use cases and get your organization up and running in terms of file sharing and accessibility to remain productive and efficient in your organization. So with that, I'm going to pass the mic, so to speak, to Alfredo to discuss how Workplace can help during a crisis. So thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Holly. As Holly mentioned, Workplace was built to connect the world of work. Our goal is to connect everyone within the organization and empower them to connect them with their fellow employees, to spread messages faster, to allow them to get to work that matters, and help build a stronger culture at the end of the day. With that being said, I want to hand over the mic to Carol, who will share with you how Workplace integrates with a variety of calibration and collaboration tools to access files easily and ensuring that we are in fact connecting employees together to work together.
Now I'm muted. Thanks so much, Alfredo. Yeah, as Alfredo mentioned, Workplace is great at employee engagement, building meaningful communities, whether your organization is focused on creating alignment or boosting morale or just upskilling its people. And SharePoint is great for document collaboration and storage. And because Workplace is integrated with more than 50, what they call it, best of breed applications, what we will focus on today will be the SharePoint built-in integration that is available for free in the Workplace Integrations directory to help with the quick access to the remote files for your employees. So we've been asked before, why use Workplace and SharePoint together? Isn't cloud storage alone sufficient? Isn't my SharePoint sufficient just to give that quick access to my people? But the reality is, with the rapid rise of social media, like the rapid rise of social media in the last few years has changed how people get things done and interact with each other. People now consume information much more easier and work much more efficiently when using the tools that they use daily in their personal lives. So finding the right information at the right time has changed how people get things done. Finding the right information at the right time is easy and effortless when all your communication and resources are in one place. So that's why we're focusing on integrating Workplace with SharePoint. And by using this integration, the users will not need to leave one app to go to the others. They will just be using one app, and in the back end, it's integrated with the other, which will give them the intuitive interface that is easily to find and work on files of Workplace while leveraging the powerful collaboration functions of SharePoint, which are like co-authoring, version control, and workflows, while having the conversation around these documents in Workplace. Using the Workplace familiar features that we will show you in our demo today, which are like the comments, the emojis, and it's very similar to the social network interface. And by the way, co-authoring means it's like my coworkers and I are working on the same documents at the same time, real time. Let me jump here. So to empower your people to work remote, they will need access to two critical type of documents. So what we define those documents as the standard documents or the static documents, the documents that the people will need access to as quick as possible, such as like company benefits, policies and procedures, if you're having COVID-19 policies and procedures. And the other type will be the living documents like project that they're currently working on, any evolving materials that need to be shared with the team, any documents that the team need to collaborate on at the same time. So for these two type of documents, what we will show you today, what's the best place to store those documents, or how can you start quickly sharing that with your teams and showing your teams how to start working on it. So with that, let's jump into a quick demo of how this will look like. And first, Alfredo will show you a quick overview of what is Workplace and the Workplace interface. And then I'll jump into the file features and I will show you how to best fully use Workplace with SharePoint.
Terrific. Thank you, Carol, as you're setting up here. So first and foremost, welcome to Workplace. As you can see, very familiar in terms of the look and feel as Facebook.com. And one of the reasons for that is that we want to make it very intuitive for individuals to quickly adopt this tool. For the individuals that aren't as familiar or don't have a Facebook.com, that's okay, because the tool itself is still very intuitive. which makes and reduces the barrier for entry and adoption. One other thing that I did want to make a note of before we jump right in and start exploring the various facets of Workplace, I did want to make a note that Facebook.com and Workplace are separate entities. You use Facebook.com for your personal use to connect with friends and families. Workplace is really to connect with your organization, your fellow colleagues, and they're completely separate. They don't intertwine, nor do they connect with one another. So let's jump right in. We'll start off with the news feed, as Carol is showing us here. The news feed is really a collection of content that you would see from a variety of different sources. You would see content being populated from the groups that you've joined. You'll also see content from individuals that you follow, and those individuals are folks, your fellow colleagues that you work with on a day-to-day basis. On the right-hand side, you'll notice that you have a variety of trending content. You also are encouraged, and we suggest through a little bit of machine learning and a little bit of artificial intelligence, suggested groups that you can join. And we even go ahead and suggest individuals to follow. Circling back in the content and the newsfeed specifically, you'll notice that you can have a lot of engagement occurring. You can create posts. Those posts then would surface within the various groups that you've joined. You can react to any of the content, similar to what Carol is mentioning. You have like functionality, heart functionality. You can apply those emojis so that folks that originally posted the content can see those reactions occur. You can also comment on those posts, and you'll notice that as you're commenting, other fellow colleagues are continuing to comment. And more importantly, the content is so dynamic. It's very visual appealing with being able to upload static images, videos, and even using Facebook.com's technology of live video. You can present it all here. On the left side, as we see the navigation, you'll notice that we've gone ahead and sorted the content so that you can easily use a variety of different features and functions within Workplace. You have access to functionality under See More to make your day-to-day work even more efficient, and more importantly, to discover new items within Workplace. Down below, you'll notice all the groups that you've joined listed there. Those groups, I won't touch too much on it because Carol will touch on that a little bit shortly here, but that's really the backbone of Workplace. It allows you to be able to join a variety of different types of groups so you can collaborate with your fellow colleagues on various projects. You can see official messages, announcements from the company and the organization. And below is the set of people that you are following. And these individuals is a great way to be able to have one-on-one chats or group them in a variety of different chats. You can even leverage some of our video conferencing functionality so you can have that closeness one-on-one communication through video. So with that, I want to pass the mic back to Carol, which will now share how groups is the backbone of Workplace, followed by how easily it is to integrate with your collaboration tools.
Thanks, Alfredo. So yeah, as Alfredo just mentioned, so as you can see, the interface is very similar to the consumer version of Facebook and social networks, but Workplace is different. Workplace is made for work. So it has more controls over the content, and you will have control over all the content in Workplace. And you will see, as Alfredo mentioned, instead of people sharing on having their own pages, sharing on their own pages, everything in Workplace happens in groups. And for the groups, we have two types of groups. We have like the company-wide groups, such as like the all company group, and in these sharing content can be limited to specific people to keep it clean and to make sure that the information there is not lost in the noise. So only specific people can post content here. However, all the members that are added to this group, which can, if it's a company-wide group, that means that all your employees are added, they can start commenting and reacting to the information shared in this group. And sorry, the video is making my network slow. But as you can see here, as Alfredo mentioned, you can go live, and this is really helpful when you want to share information quickly with like everyone. The other type of groups is a smaller group for small members, which can be used for like team groups, department groups, and like special interest groups like diversity and inclusion. We have in line 0, we have like family at line 0, where we share family information. We share sometimes best practices and some tips. And also like you can have women at company, your company, or here women at future work in this demo to support the women at your organization. And in these types of group, you can control who can see the content, and also you can control who can post the content in there. So with that, I want to take you to the SharePoint integration, and Alfredo has asked me to show you how easy it is to just add it to Workplace. It will take like a few minutes from you to add this integration. As we mentioned, it is available for free, and if you have a SharePoint subscription, and it is really simple to add. So if you are an admin to the Workplace instance, you will see that you have access to the admin features. I will jump right into the admin features here, and you will see you'll have integration. And in the integrations, you have all the built-in integrations by the Workplace ecosystem partners in the integration directory. And if you browse this integration directory, I have it opened here in another tab, just for the sake of the network is slow today. So here, if you can browse by category, if you browse by file sharing, you will see that there are multiple providers here like Google Drive, OneDrive, SharePoint, and Dropbox and Box. What we will add today is SharePoint, so you will simply just click on it, you will click Add to Workplace, and what will happen, a pop-up window will ask you for your SharePoint credentials, and you will need to have admin access to the SharePoint credentials. Once you add this, you will see that the SharePoint is added to your Workplace integration. It's very simple as that. And then let me go back to the groups and show you how can you use it in the groups. So once you have it here added, you will notice that when you go to any group, and by the way, when you are in a Workplace group, you will see here if you're a member and if you have the permissions, you can just create a new post. And when you create a new post, you will have this upload file button. And after the integration is being added, you will see that 2 more buttons will pop up here. I will try another group. I'll give it a second to load. So I'll go ahead and click. This should be the SharePoint. Let me turn off my camera. It might make things better. Sorry about that.
As you can see, folks, the challenge is working from home and the strain to everyone's video conferencing tools here.
Yeah, here. So you'll see that button added. If you click on it, it will let you browse your SharePoint environment, and then you can simply upload files from SharePoint. Here, I can just click on this file and click open. The latest version, and then I can share with everyone in the group, and you will see that it will show that this file is shared from SharePoint, but you can see it here, you can browse it, you can view it from Workplace, but it is housed in SharePoint. So this is the first option, and as you remember in a few slides back, we spoke about two types of files. We spoke about the standard documents and the living documents. And for the standard documents, those are the ones that you want to share with all employees. Living documents can be the team collaboration documents. So let's start with the living documents, which you can use this option to add those documents to Workplace. And also there is another option on in Workplace here. What you can do, you can link to a folder in SharePoint. So you will see here that option. If you click link folder, also it will let you browse your SharePoint environment. And from here, you can click on the folder and select the folder, and you'll click open. And that will link the folder to your Workplace environment, and it will query all the files within this folder, which will let you search those files. So here I have this one is added. What I can do in the search, I can search for new employee. And if I filter by files, here I'm searching the document and I'm finding the information that is housed in SharePoint. So these, as you can see here, documents on SharePoint. So it's very easy for those type of documents to just link to Workplace and get the team started to work on. There is also another option if you want to add the files directly to Workplace. You can just simply upload the files from computer, and those will be housed in Workplace. So that's for like the living documents, the documents that you want to collaborate on. And we also spoke about the standard documents that you want to share with everyone. So for the standard documents, we have a feature. And by the way, it's new, but it will be, I've heard it will be available by end of April. If you're interested, let us know, and we will let you know when it's live on Workplace. This is like the redesign, the new design of the resources feature that we had previously on Workplace. And this feature is called the Knowledge Library. And what you can do is, it is so easy to use for the content editor, for the people who want to quickly share the information and the policies, the benefits, and the critical documents that you want to move to Workplace as soon as possible. It's giving you that interface and where you can just simply add some visuals and then add your resources. And you can create categories as well. So here there is a different category which has all the resources where you can add your policies. If you have like policies and procedures relevant to COVID-19, you can create a new category and make it easy to share with everyone. The information is here. You can edit at any time, and it's so much easier than just sending by email and then trying to go back. And also with the rapid change and developments that's happening in the health situation these days, it is so hard to send documents by email, because the second day you want to make changes, and you do at the same time you do not want to keep sending everyday documents, new documents to your users. And also it's not easy to communicate to them the changes, but here if you just add the documents here, and then you can easily communicate the changes in the all company group, all the announcements group that we showed earlier.
And just to add to what Carol is also showcasing here with regards to the knowledge library, as you're searching for information, just in general from Workplace, a lot of the documents from the knowledge library can be filtered during your search. So you can easily be able to find content that exists in the knowledge library. And we've also listened to many of our customers with regards to segmenting the content within knowledge library. So that capability will also be available to you, where some of the content in the knowledge library will be available to certain groups based on their different profiled fields, whether that's the department, the location that they sit in, etc. So that gives you a little bit more flexibility with being able to host a variety of different documents and just ensuring that the distribution of those documents go to the right people within the knowledge library.
Awesome. That's perfect. That's great that it's coming soon. And yeah, it looks so neat and clean and easy to use. And the best thing here is you can also, like with Workplace, you as an admin, you will have an option to view reporting in regards to like the people usage of Workplace, like the engagement, how are they using Workplace, and how frequent are they on Workplace, and also in regards to that documents that you shared or that post that you shared. If let me find a new post here and I'll show you. So here, if I share this document with everyone, I can easily go and view the matrix and measure the reach of this one. So you can measure the reach of a specific post, a specific announcement of specific document, and you can see like it's seen by the number, how many people added comments, how many people added reactions, and also how many people read this post or have seen this document. So it's actually helping the people with measuring the reach of, like you put too much work, you put too much effort in these documents in creating those policies, and sometimes you're wondering, I'm not sure if people have read that announcement or missed it. So this helps you look at that and be relieved that people have read the post, and also you can see the level of engagement. And we've heard multiple times that people, it makes it so easier for them to add or share a new document, and because it's when someone mentions like, hey, no, but I'm not sure I understand bullet number 3, and then they can easily go back and edit the same document and share it again, instead of like having to resend by emails because they've received like a feedback in regards to the document. So hope this was helpful. We really wanted to show you like a quick demo, a quick overview of how you can use it. So to wrap up, what we've shared, what we've shown you today is an option to upload files hosted on SharePoint directly to Workplace using the simple upload file button. And also you can link folders to SharePoint, and you can share company-wide resources using the knowledge library feature that's coming soon. And you can host these documents on SharePoint or on Workplace. So both options will be available. And this wraps up the demo for today. I really hope this was helpful and give you an idea of how it looks like. I just wanted to share with you some tips. So when you start, after configuring the resources, whether you decided you will host your standard documents here, or just like you will host it in an all company group like this. Some organizations, they just like add a welcome post and they pin that post, and it is pinned to the top of the newsfeed, and they just add links to the documents, which can be hosted on any platform, on Workplace, on SharePoint, any accessible platforms for the end users. So once you configure your resources, once you have it ready, what you can do is you can create a post in your onboarding group for new hires, and also like a post in your company-wide knowledge center group as an example, with detailed steps on where to find the files and how to ask for help. This will help the people, new hires, and the existing employees find the information easily when you just like update this information and guide them to where to find the resources and the files. The other tip is do not worry about starting perfect. You do not have like to design and structure, like we're in a critical time now and people need access to critical documents. Do not think about migrating your whole content. Just see what are the current documents the people need to work on, and you can start moving those. I've also heard from a beautiful workplace CSM lady saying start small and build later, because it's so simple to configure. It is so simple to edit and to add and remove content. You can just start now, ask for feedback, and you will find that you will get there in no time. So I hope this, again, was helpful. And as you can see, Workplace, can you provide your team with quick access to, we always say that like the 4 important things: the content, communication, collaboration, and culture. So with that, you might be wondering now, is this secure? How do I make sure that my information on Workplace is secure? So I'll hand over back to Alfredo to talk about security. And give me 1 second, Alfredo, till I get the slide.
Not a problem. Thank you, Carol. And as Carol is preparing this slide, first and foremost, I just want to make a note that we definitely respect your data and protect your privacy at Workplace. It's, again, a very, very important element in terms that or I should say Workplace has met the highest industry standards for data and security. As you can see, we've ensured that many of the certifications off to the right-hand side have been met. Additionally, as I mentioned earlier, Workplace and Facebook.com are completely separate. Your Facebook identity will never cross over to Workplace, and vice versa. Those instances are separate, logins are separate. We'll never share your data between the two either. That means you'll never see an ad in Workplace coming over from Facebook at all. And based on the customers, we do work with some heavily regulated and secured customers. For example, Telefonica, Zurich, and the Royal Bank of Scotland, along with many others that aren't listed here. But just to give you an idea of how respected our security standards have met the standards of these individuals. So with that being said, you've heard from Carol and I walk you through Workplace, how easy it is to upload and access files, and more importantly, how easy it is to get up and running. As Carol mentioned, start off small and you can simply just build upon that. So Holly will now walk you through and talk to you about next steps.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much, Caroline and Alfredo. Really hope that our attendees find this content really useful in terms of how to get started with the Workplace SharePoint integration. So moving into some next steps. So here we have our remote work readiness assessment. So to help you understand your remote work readiness, we've put together this short 5-minute assessment. We welcome you to go through this checklist to see if you are ready for remote work. When we receive your answers, we will contact you with your assessment results along with a list of recommendations. So it's really just a few short sentences, few questions posed in order to understand where you are in your remote work readiness journey and how we can assist with that. Now, if you feel that you already understand your remote work readiness capabilities and you're ready to talk solutions, we do have a couple options available to you. So the first option here is going to be our 48-hour accelerated workplace from Facebook deployment. So Carol, if you don't mind advancing the slide there. So for this one, the 48-hour deployment option for Workplace from Facebook is really for organizations with 3,000 employees or less. Our team of experts will basically assist you with Workplace technical implementation within that 48-hour window. We'll look at an accelerated launch strategy and a 25-day action plan. We'll help you in developing a crisis communication strategy within Workplace, and we'll really guide you on the management of ongoing crisis events and the use of the safety check feature. In terms of remote access facilitation, it's really important to get your employees working and secure access to existing company resources quickly. So we will kind of walk you through that as well. And lastly, we will kind of share with you leading practices for engaging remote employees. The second option here is the same activities and deliverables that I've just mentioned. However, this is meant for large organizations. So we have the 7-day accelerated workplace from Facebook deployment, and the stipulation here is that you have 3,000 plus employees. Again, just doing all those deliverables and activities that I just mentioned, but at a larger scale. So it will take that 7-day window. If you are interested in any of these offers, please do feel free to reach out to engage@linezero.com, and we're more than happy to even just discuss with you about your remote work readiness capabilities or talk solution. So this concludes today's PowerPoint presentation, and we would like to move into the Q&A portion of this session. So again, I'd like to point out to you that if you do have any questions, please do use the chat function on the platform, and we're more than happy to answer those questions. So right off the bat, we actually do have a couple questions, Carol and Alfredo. So Tom is asking, can you share documents with external organizations?
Do you want me to take this one, Alfredo?
Go ahead, Carol.
Yep, so we have that option. We didn't touch on it in the demo. We have an option in a Workplace, and it's called multi-company groups, where you can create an external group, and then you can invite external people to be members of this group. Then you'll be able to share files with them. So only the people you are inviting to this group will able to see the content that's shared. But yep, you can share externally, and it's controlled.
Awesome. So Lily's asking, can you search SharePoint documents from Workplace? And if so, how are you able to do this?
I can take this one too.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So yeah, to be able to search the SharePoint documents from Workplace, you will need to link the folder as we showed in the demo. If you link the folder, you'll be able to search the document. It will pop up in the query. But if you want to search documents in SharePoint that are not linked to Workplace, it's not available at the moment, but we also can help create a bot to be able to do this. And when I say a bot, if you're not familiar with bots, it's like an automated process that in the look and feel of a chat bot that's similar to your chatting with someone, and you can interact and ask the bot to find that information from SharePoint, and it can grab that information back to you. But this is like not built in Workplace, but it's very simple to develop and create something like this. Hope that helps.
We do have another question here. So Mark is asking a question around permissions. So who can link folders and who can view SharePoint files? And what type of message would someone receive if they weren't able to access that file?
Awesome, Mark. That's a great question. Would you like to take it, Alfredo?
Sure. Let me go ahead and so with regards to in terms of permission, who has access or permissions to upload files, as Carol mentioned, and by all means, Carol, feel free to chime in as well. You do need to have access and permission, a certain permission level to be able to upload those files. So you yourself on SharePoint would need to have the credible access in order to upload those files onto a Workplace, as she walked you through and during the integration. As far as the view, again, we ensure that the visibility of any file that you upload from SharePoint, that same viewing permission that was originally associated to the doc from SharePoint continues to go through and carried over into a Workplace environment. So if the file, for example, was only restricted to 5 individuals and you upload it to a group of 100 individuals, only those 5 individuals within that group would be able to view the file. So just keep that in mind in terms of what type of files and folders you're uploading, if they're accessible by all parties or by a certain number of individuals.
Amazing. And Alfredo, we actually have a follow-up question to this. So Mark is asking, can you change permissions over time if you want another individual who was previously not able to view that file? Can you add their permissions thereafter?
And that's where you would make the permission occur within SharePoint as opposed to into a workplace.
Okay, oh, we have a tough one here. So you showed a few different integration options. Why SharePoint? Is it superior?
Actually, we've been asked that question multiple times, and most of the cloud storage providers out there are powerful, and they provide, like, each one excel at a specific area. We showed SharePoint today because that was a popular demand. Multiple people reached out to us and they said, we have Office 365, we already have the license, we have SharePoint, we are not using it. If you can just show us how to use it, and we don't want to confuse our employees by visiting SharePoint, and it's a little bit complicated to use, so we wanted them to use it with like a simple interface. But if you have like Google Drive, if you have Dropbox, it's the same. It's very easy to integrate, and it's almost the same end user experience.
Okay, so I'm not seeing any more questions here, so we'll just wait maybe a minute or so to let those roll in. But if not, I think that'll conclude today's presentation. Yeah, so I'm not seeing any more. So I just want to say thank you all for joining us for today's webinar. We really hope that you found this content useful during this crisis communications time. If you do require further information, or you'd like to reach out and start with that workplace SharePoint integration, please feel free to email engage@linezero.com, and we're more than happy just to have a general discussion with you or move into solution-oriented discussion. But with that, on behalf of all of us, thank you so much for joining the webinar, and until next time. Bye, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.